Yeah, dude. It's good to see you.
How's it, bro?
It's good. It's good. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast, episode 5.
5.
Yeah,
Oh.
you're with my friend Blake.
How's it?
Yeah, and today we've been chatting about releasing music. Because you're going through an interesting crucible of your own right now.
Yes. It's rough. Yeah, it's funny because I'm doing 3 things. Like in the current 4. So I was mixing for someone else. So it's the making sure that I'm mixing it right for this person's their release, and then I'm co-producing my church album. Well, the other guy's producing most of the songs, and I'm producing. He's producing 3, and I'm producing 2 more, sort of, and recording and mixing in those, and that has to be released soon. And we are not far, so that's a lot of pressure. And then it's my 2 albums. So I've got a lot of experience about the tensions and trials and tribulations of finishing a product.
Oh man,
It's been long. But the church one has been, because we did the 1 single already, which we already released, and that was received quite well, and made it into the gospel top charts in Cape Town
oh nice.
for quite a few weeks. I think it was the longest that a song has been up there. So I'm pretty proud.
Yeah, man.
And we had to start, finish, record the whole choir, the whole band, mix and master with like church people's, so working people's schedules around my working schedule, and we had like a week and a half. It was rough.
Oh, that's a mess.
Oh my word, sleep was not really an option at that time. But yeah, we got through it, and it came out pretty well. I was quite happy. What happened was we didn't release it on digitally because it was promoting a concert for the church, and there was a deadline for the song to be played on the radio. It has to go through preview, So I had to just finish it, and then I wasn't happy with that mix. But that's the mix that was on the top charts, and then I remixed it properly with a little bit more time. I had like an extra day and a half or something before we put it up. So that was it was. I wish that the real mix got onto the radio. But anyways, it wasn't terrible. It was just there was a few, just you can't sweeping and getting out certain frequencies that I wasn't happy with, and it's a bit boomy. But then again, you also have to hand things off eventually.
Yeah, and that's probably the trickiest part of the process.
Just when to let go, right?
Yeah.
When do you let your baby go?
Yeah.
When they turn 18 or 35?
Yeah. Yeah, and if you sit on a song for 18 years, that's a long album release. Just like it's a lot of.
Yeah.
It's a lot of resources to keep the hype up.
Just imagine. Well, as an adult, took really long between those 2 albums that you did.
But that was also like maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously very different.
Yeah.
To us, who are nobodies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my fans are waiting with bated breath.
Oh, flip. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when are you getting into studio with your old stuff? Like what Tracy's doing, the album that that EP that I mixed for her. It's just like she's got new stuff, completely different sound. Not completely different sound, but more produced and more electronic-y. Not like it's not an electronic thing, but it's she's taken in consideration of modern sound, but still within keeping herself. But this album was just like this EP. She just wanted to get it out. It's old music. She doesn't want to rework it. She just felt like she needed to put it out and move on now. When are you gonna do that with your old stuff? Just let it out of your hair.
Yeah, I'm soon. I'm honestly considering doing it soon. I just I don't know. I'm kind of doing the internet thing right now, and I want to try and get that right for a little bit. So the music side of my life is a bit calmer, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm.
Yeah, like the pure music side.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I am still working on a lot of music, but it's just like I wanted to. I want to work without. I want to work without the absolute need for a target for a little bit, because I had that for too long, and I started feeling a bit stuck. So I'm trying to pull back a bit. Like just for like, so it's been about a month that I've been doing that, and I want to take another 2 and just see what happens.
Yeah, start the new year and be more fresh, I suppose. That's a good thing.
That's sort of what I'm trying to do.
I think rest is important.
Yeah.
Rest is it's funny, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, I don't it's not about loving sleeping. Like, you shouldn't love sleep. People who love sleep, you're parking off.
Yeah.
But you should value the need for sleep.
Yeah.
You should value the need to rest. It's like, you shouldn't love money,
Yeah.
but you should value money and its necessity in your life.
Yeah.
Because that changes a lot of things. Because, for instance, with money, if you love money, it's a sin, obviously, but also it changes the way that you use it.
Yeah.
And the way that you acquire it. Because if you're money driven, it can change your attitude to how you treat others and how you treat work, and how you decide the choices you make in making that, and how you want to make that money.
Yeah.
For instance, giving up a talent or a dream and hope and chase money, for the small things like that. Or but when you can value the need for money and value its value in your life. So for instance, taking into consideration how I made this money, what do I need it for, what is the need for money in my life, paying bills, this, enjoyment, giving back, whatever those are, and you can value that. It doesn't mean that you're not wanting to have more, but you're valuing it different, which can then change your input and how you want to get it.
Yeah.
And then when you value it, how you spend it.
Yeah, definitely. So it's like a different two approaches to business. One business only wants money no matter what cost. Another business wants to produce the highest quality product that is rewarded with the most money.
Exactly.
And that's just a completely different way of thinking about it.
Yeah. So back to rest. I definitely think that rest is important, to value it, to value the point of rest in your life, and to try and work on not feeling guilty about not doing work, because that's what we all struggle. I know you struggle.
Yeah.
We feel so guilty about not working.
Yeah, like actually, just a friend of mine sent me a video about that. It talks about the hard work of being lazy. Because it can be difficult, because you have to be really honest with yourself about what is busy work and what is actual work. And even if you are doing things that feel like you're progressing to something, it's like, you're just burning yourself out and not thinking about the future, and not being and not being efficient with your time, just so you can tell yourself that I did an honest day.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's kind of pointless. And I felt that way about practice after a while as well. It's like, am I going to do this scale again? But it's like practicing, like if you find yourself practicing all the things you know over and over again, and it's like, well, what don't I know? What don't I do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we also get into the comfort zone of a comfort zone. So, it's easier to practice what we know, and then we feel good about it.
Yeah.
So then you felt like you did something, but like you said, you didn't do anything. But the point of growth is putting yourself in uncomfortability. Yeah. Uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
That's the point of growth. That is when things start to change. Not immediately, obviously. Like, for instance, music as the example. When you start practicing something you don't know, you're like a beginner in that sense. Like if there's certain things that I need to check out on the piano, and when I do check them out, I take it really slowly. So if someone walked into me practicing, they go, "Jeepers, this guy knows nothing," because I'm practicing on that thing at this beginner level, if not even slower sometimes, just to really perfect something. And it takes, some concepts take really long. Some concepts can just be absorbed. But I think there are some big concepts, big things that one needs to internalize, which are practical. There are practical things, and then there are feel things and understanding things, where it's not a practical where it's just an adaptation of your current way to fit to this, as opposed to going, I have no clue how to do this. I need to sit down and figure it out.
Yeah.
Mathematically, almost, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like bebop, for instance, like it's very easy to get through licks and stuff like that, but to really get into the nitty gritty, the way that Barry Harris talks about, it's a lot of slow, focused, like brain burning practice.
Yeah, exactly. Like I always used to say, like, never trust the guy who sounds good, too good in the practice room.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because if the guy who sounds effortless, like never hits any bumps.
Yeah.
In the practice, like even someone like Offensive, for example, a fantastic saxophonist we both know, like he'll be burning through this line, but then you'll hear him hit the point. You hear him hit the reason that he's practicing that line.
Oh yeah.
And then if you sit there and you just sit there for 5 minutes, you'll hear him get to that point and continue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, those are the guys. You find that guy, you book him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you book that person because you know you can trust them to actually do the work.
It's funny. It's funny you say that working thing, because so today I had this rehearsal, and I remember doing the rehearsal 2 weeks ago. I missed the middle rehearsal because of something else, and a song cropped up, which is quite rhythmically challenging. It's written in 12/8, but it gets counted in 2, and like 4. And for the whole, I still don't know. But it's the first time I'm playing with a bass player. He's got so I have to play a bass line, sort of like a bass line riff on the piano, and the bass player plays an interlocking thing, but it doesn't like interlock. There's only one place where he gives me my cue, like, and the rest is just like me on our own trip. And then the drummer's doing his own thing, and like, to the life of me, I still don't understand why it's just in 12/8 because it confuses everything. And I get, maybe it's probably for other people, like maybe because it's written for a big band, quite a big band. But I just didn't get it. I didn't get it at the first rehearsal. I said, okay, can we not work on this one right now? I'm going to practice it. It's 2 weeks ago. I came to today's rehearsal and I didn't practice it. And that's such an asshole thing. Yeah. Anyways, but and I never even listened to any of the tunes again. But we did work on it quite a bit, and I never got it right once. But it's sat in me subconsciously, and that when it came to the point of playing it today, I almost nailed it. Yeah. Without ever practicing it, like it's definitely shaky. Like you'd not want to record that. Like I would never. But I mean, it was funny that the growth happened in absorption. Like I always find if I'm playing new music and I read for the first time at a gig, I'm quite folding. I'm not at a gig at a rehearsal. Like I'm pretty like all over the place. Even though I can read well, but it's like you're not getting the essence of it. And then I'll not look at it again, and the gig will come, and it's completely different because I played it once. My brain is like mulling over. My brain goes, "Oh, I know we have to do this. Whatever. I don't know how my brain works. Something like that. It goes exactly like that. Yeah. And then and then I play it fine. Yeah. Without having to have looked at it again. I guess it comes down to how I used to practice as a kid, as a student, which was everything. Like I practiced rhythm, I practiced comping, and I practiced soloing, but in all the different styles and in all the different fields, not all, but many different fields. And the way that I practiced improvising was not based on like a song. It was based on common movements and concepts and things within styles. I'd play a chord progression and play it in a different style, in a solo over this, and then work my way around things so that the way that I practiced was that you could put anything in front of me and I'll be able to play on it at that moment, like right then and there, with no problems. So as opposed to learning song by song by song, I find like a lot of guys, the minute you put a song they're not comfortable with, they fold hard. Yeah. So when you put a song I'm not comfortable with, I fold, but not hard. I can get by. Yeah. So I mean that concept of practicing for the worst situation possible. With Gary player with golf, he spent most of his time in the sandpit practicing. Not most, but like a big part of his practicing routine was in the sandpit. Or in like really, really bad lies, he'd go like he'd find a place and place his ball in the worst position and try and get out of it properly. You know, like
Mm.
what's the worst position? Because it's really easy to tee off if you're practicing enough. If you know at that level, not for me, but and or if you're on the fairway, get onto the green, that's gonna be the ideal situation. But you hit your tee, the ball gets caught by the wind, and boom, you're under a tree.
Yeah.
Well, you're under 1,000 trees, and you need to get your way out. You need to be able to like keep the ball low and let it bend around a tree. You know what I mean? Those are the situations he practiced a lot, is to get yourself out of being uncomfortable to allow yourself to grow. So that when you have the simple shots, they're even easier. Because you now have learned the control of X, Y, and Z. Same thing in music, and the same thing, I guess, in anything really. That if you can find the most uncomfortable situations and work those properly and be comfortable, that the other stuff will come more naturally.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I like.
got distracted.
It's all good. I like the way that you mentioned when you were practicing that you would practice the thing and then also try to understand. Like you'd play you spoke about it from a technical perspective and from its essence. And so you spoke about the back brain. I like to talk about the back brain.
Yeah.
And just going back to the releasing music thing, like I found the back brain thing can sometimes be very interesting to negotiate with, because you sometimes, for example, let's say you have a song and technically everything is working, but you look at it and something is bothering you, like seriously bothering you. Like not just you panicking about releasing it, like actually bothering you.
Yeah.
And I think one big question of how to finish, we talk about being a finisher. It's like, at what point do you ignore that, and at what point do you do something about that? If you know what I'm saying. Like you're sitting there having a serious discussion with yourself, looking at this piece of music, going, "I don't like you. Why don't I like you?" Yeah. Like even so, that's part of why I haven't released my old music yet, because there's a lot of things I love about it, but a lot of things where I look at it and I go, I don't want this to represent my career right now.
Well, so my viewpoint on that last statement is, it's a snapshot.
Yeah.
Like it's a snapshot in history. So, no album represents anyone thoroughly, ever. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still feel like people should just put it out, because we're not trying to change the world with every album, and you're not trying to come out and try and be the best singer in the world, or the best composer in the world. I don't think that's the point of music. It shouldn't really be the point of music in any form. It's just, I feel that a good way to look at releasing music and working on music, creating music, is just to contribute to the sound and just make a snapshot of yourself at that moment. So this would be a snapshot of you 3 years ago.
Yeah.
In today's understanding, in your new understanding. So, I feel like we shouldn't get too caught up in, one of the mistakes is to get too caught up in not feeling ready, whatever. But I feel like it's just something. It's just another thing we put out, and it can do really well for you depending on how much you put into it and what it is. And people get lucky and blah 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 blah. But that's not the point, I feel, of music.
Yeah.
It's just another contributing factor. Like I found that with my album. Even now, people will come out to me like, "Do you know how often I listen to your album?" Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, when I'm driving or when I'm feeling like this, I'll put that song on, or, like, it moved people. The composition, I'm quite a fan of the compositions. I'm not a fan of other points of the album, but the compositions are really beautiful. I don't feel like I wrote them myself. I feel like, I took it from God. But it's just a snapshot, man.
Yeah,
but,
you're right.
But then the other question you posed was,
how do you deal with the negotiation between the back of your head and the front of your head?
So my belief is, fix it. Unequivocally fix it. If there's something that's bothering you, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Fix it.
Yeah.
And so a good way, like how I dealt with this latest album, because it's very hard to write something out, play it on the piano, and then it's meant to be played with a whole band.
Yeah.
and then figure out what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
So what I did is I compose everything with everything. So in Logic, play in the bass line, play the drum groove you want, and if you don't know what drum groove you have, figure it out.
Yeah.
Just stop messing around on the piano roll and just figure it out until you're reasonably happy. At least with that, and then play in the melody and then record in a scratch take, not for release, just of your voice. Just reasonable, and then take it from there.
Yeah.
And then analyze, play it from the beginning. And the minute you find that place where you disagree, stop.
Yeah.
Stop there, loop the section, figure out what is it the bass note? Does the drums need to do something different? Does the melody need to change? Do the words need to change? Sorry. Or do the chords need to change? What is it about that? Is it the chords need to be displaced? It can be anything. It can be a combination of things. It can be one thing. It could be the simplest thing. It could be the phrasing, the way that you are phrasing the voice, or that the chords need to hit with you in a different place. Whatever that is, I find that is the best way until you go from start to finish and you are satisfied that it's a yes, not like there should never be a
Yeah, and I'm with you.
That's what I found. It's not you're not a millionaire where you can just record the whole band and then listen to it back and then say, okay, let's change that. Let's try it again. Record. Cool. No. Okay. You know what I mean? Like that. That's why the beauty of Logic and GarageBand and whatever else. All these different things where you now have that space to figure it out. Pre-plan the album. Pre-plan the whole thing. From start to finish. Like I said with my albums coming out, quite a number of the songs were completely done before anyone started recording. I just basically replaced whatever they were. So the drummer was now replacing the thing that I already put together.
No, fair enough.
Obviously with a bit of freedom to each person, but the structures with their certain fills of like you can't miss this fill. Because it's tied to this, or just add something I wanted in nothing. Whatever it is that's the beauty of this. It's time consuming, but then next time you perform it and you've corrected the thing, you have this complete. Well, I guess you're never gonna have that because even when I play those songs now, I still feel like I'm still fighting that.
Yeah, no,
it's
never
but
gonna
it's
be
not.
perfect.
But it's not. No, but it's not that the song is imperfect.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the songs. I'm completely happy with all the songs. The worry then becomes people's receiving of it, which is we can't control. We kind of decided for the world on this podcast that we can't control it. We can't control that.
Yeah.
That is a. And you just have to kind of get over that fact. And when I do get over that fact, I'll let you know, Dan.
Me too. Yeah, man. No, I'm with you on all of that. Like, it's definitely just a block that you have to fight through.
Yeah, it's a workshop.
Yeah.
Workshop with yourself.
Yeah,
workshop with your back brain and your front brain.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, like, no, it's just so one song. Okay, like a song that we both know, that the audience won't know. The Monday Accolade song. How when I had that second bit that was already written. Now I quite like that bit. But the first bit is annoying me, and they don't make sense together. So I want to cut the first bit, but now I don't know what to put with the second bit. You know what I mean? Like that's why I haven't come back to you with that song, for example. And that's where the back brain and the front brain are arguing to the point where I've just put it away because it is annoying me. Yeah.
I find it really tough to come back to things these days. If I can't finish something then, or in the period of starting, I'm probably never going to finish it.
Yeah.
I found that coming back has been too difficult and became... This is completely personal. This, that it became too forced. I've never successfully come back to a song and finished it.
Oh, really?
Never. I mean, and I'm talking about like wrote a song a month ago and then came back. I mean, like within a reasonable time frame, obviously. Like, so I'd say like over maybe the songs that I've been able to finish were done within a week. Max.
Okay.
I feel completely...
Yeah.
I struggle. Like, like from my point, like, because then what happens is you've forgotten your thought processes, me. So the way that I do things, and then I've set up this bus and I wanted to remember this thing, so I put this thing there. And when I come back and look at this thing, which is now overly complicated, it's like, what? Like, so when I had to remix that track, so when I submitted the mixing to the radio station for it to be approved, and then to do the final streaming, the online release, I tried to fix the things up, and I was stuck. So I reset everything.
Yeah,
And I started from scratch, and I did it much faster than what I was trying to spend time on. Like, but it's not working. I just started from scratch because it was just easier for me than trying to figure out where I was. And it's the same as like if I don't feel something, just leave it.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way about you. Like, there's seriously is very important to get as many ideas as you can out on the canvas quickly.
Yeah.
But I have found some success where there will be, for example, there's songs that I've never released and only ever played once, but it's like 8 bars. I'm like, you're good. Somewhere I will use you, and then I don't throw them away. I keep them here, you know. And then one day I'll have an idea, and then that will play, and I go, okay, so now you're ready for me. Okay, and then we put them down.
Yeah.
And that's why that's sort of what I mean by coming back to songs, because I definitely agree with you. Like, so for example, the Monday Accolade song, like I feel like the second part was actually quite strong, but it just I haven't heard it in context yet. I've only ever heard the 1 minute clip. I've only heard that 1 minute clip, and I haven't heard the rest of it. And I wasn't just happy continuing in that fashion. Something needs to come before, something needs to come after.
Yeah.
And I haven't had the idea that will complete it. You know, that's kind of where I'm at.
That is tough.
Yeah.
That's why I'm such a these days. Like I'm such a fan of pre-production.
Yeah.
Like a lot of pre-production. It's a lifesaver for me. Because often when I start messing around and then find something, in that moment a lot of things come at the same time. A groove, not always, but like sometimes it's blank. I like this thing, and then I have to figure out the rest. But sometimes everything comes, not everything, but a big part of it comes once I've got the groove. I have an idea of the drums, so I'll lay out at least the thing that I hear, and I know that's not the finished part of what the drums are supposed to do, the beat, whatever. And I don't know what the bass line's going to be, so I just put in like single notes for now, whatever, you know, whatever it is. But then other things come, like, okay, this line, and I just record it and leave it, you know. And then, you know, you're able to start structuring it, but I need to like put those ideas, because those ideas that you're hearing at that moment are never going to come back, in my experience. I'm never going to remember that thing I heard in the moment that the thing got conceived. So I find the best way is to get out everything that I have in that moment, as long as it takes.
Yeah.
And those are the times when I have to leave for a gig, and you're like, do I find a tape or not? You know, like, because you're like, I have this thing now, and that's the worst. But if I start late at night, if I like maybe after a gig or something, then I'll push all the way until I have everything out.
No, definitely.
Creatively, and then come with a fresh mind the next morning, and then I can finish. You know, that's the other thing about it. But if you're hearing stuff, put it down.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there've been a lot of times that even I've heard things. Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Where I try to put everything down, but I will admit that there have been times where I've heard things and I go, "That's nice, but not strong enough." So
but you should still do it again, anyways, because maybe it's just a sub.
Yeah.
It's like a sub thing. Like, it's not the thing. Like, if you're hearing just a melody line that's irrelevant, it doesn't mean it's at the forefront. So maybe it's just meant to be there underneath, which is gonna just change that texture. You know.
Yeah. I know. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll have like a main thing I'm working on, and then I hear the notes go, la, 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 and then I just like I go for later.
Yeah.
And then, or sometimes I just let it go. I have let a few go where I sort of go like, that's not special, and then I just ignore that. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know how healthy that is, but
I can't give you the answer.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not exactly a seasoned veteran. You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the fun of us talking, because just two people still kind of flailing around. And
it's fun. It's fun because we have viewpoints, and there's no proven science behind our viewpoints yet.
No.
Like, we can't, like, so anything that I say is completely subjective. And even if I became successful, even if, say, I became even if you became, say, the number one songwriter in the world, like you just broke all the records, your viewpoint would still be subjective because it worked for you. It doesn't mean it works for anyone else.
Yeah,
Do you know
no,
what I mean?
exactly.
Like, so it's just that. That's also the beauty of it. It's like there is no right or wrong way.
Yeah, no,
You
I
know,
think it's more like there's no right or wrong way, but there's behavior that is counterproductive.
sure.
Yeah, I think, and that's more like when you coming from a more educational point of view. Like as a teacher, you're trying to sit there. You don't just tell them it's wrong, but you kind of like going, you're not helping yourself right now. Like you just
Yeah.
just take a step back, maybe try this. Like and so like when it comes to releasing and understanding songwriting, all that kind of thing, you constantly part of the conversations. You don't know really if you're engaging in unproductive behavior or engaging in productive behavior that feels unproductive because you don't know exactly where you are. And
Yeah. You know, just talking about productive behavior, so something that is vital from my point of view, and Shawnee Hannes brought it up the other day as well in class when we do this class together, is the transcribing part. Remember I told you about transcribing, but you need to, I feel that if you're wanting to get better at pre-production, anyone that wants to do that should be transcribing finished songs from top to bottom.
Yeah.
So what are the drums doing? You know, recreate those drums, recreate the bass lines, figure out what those synths are. It's flippin' tedious work at first, and I would suggest like start with like band music. You know, you like, so you as a musician would know, okay, the drums are doing this and the bass is doing that. You just find a bass sound in Logic, whatever it is, and recreate it. So that then when you start divulging into synths, you let it like ease in. But that would really help when you are trying to create your own song, to start having a sort of a library of know-how to get a drum sound that you kind of want. So like when I'm trying to create a song and I don't know where to start, I just can draw into the MIDI roll quite a lot of different grooves just to get me going. You know, like obviously being proficient at piano helps for keyboard, but it's such, especially like drums for me, is obviously the hardest thing. It's the furthest thing from my know. You know, but that's an invaluable exercise. It's like, well, what has worked? What has been successful? So looking at like from bands like, so transcribing a Michael Jackson groove and then transcribing a Toto groove and then transcribing a Earth, Wind and Fire groove, or you know, like all the different like big things, rock grooves, whatever it is, Chili Pep, whatever you want to transcribe that just floats your boat, to just learn the inside things that aren't at the forefront, besides the melody, besides the basic chords, so that when you want to do your pre-production of your song, you have this wealth of knowledge. You're going, okay, I'm kind of hearing this groove, and I remember like this Chili Pepper song kind of sound like that. I'm thinking like that, but I want it to be half time, and I want the snare to, you know, like you can start figuring that out, and you just run it in, put it on a loop, and don't worry about fills, you know, but just for that creative process. And then as you start putting stuff together, you start going, okay, wait, actually the groove needs to move to this because I want to emphasize this on the piano, and therefore the kick drum and bass need to be maybe playing together or playing against each other. What, you know, you could start then as you got this foundation. Like I'll normally like maybe start with just like a like just hi-hat on all beats, kick on 2 and 1 and 3, and snare on 1, 2 and 4, you know, and then I just have that so I just have time, and I don't know what, you know, and then I can build a groove from there, you know, whatever it is. And then, or if the bass line came first before the drums, what drum group will fit with this, and then I just, you know, it's quite experimentary at first.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, okay, so just two things there. First of all, like I find it interesting. Like I usually start at the top line because I'm a top line guy. So when I'm busy making something, I immediately put the mic in and I force myself to sing. Yeah. Because personally, I feel like groove starts at the front, and a lot of singers don't realize that sometimes. You know, like as in.
You mean singing in groove?
Yeah. Like it starts. It's like defending in football. It starts at the front. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I've always felt like that. Like just if you like, for example, listening to Ariana Grande's latest album, which I've been doing a lot. Of course, that I love it. It's really clever, and you hear how much, even though she's got these fantastic legato, pretty chops, when she needs to groove, everything is in the pocket.
Definitely,
like she's in that pocket. like you cannot believe.
Do you know what's
And-
the? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. And then what was the other point? Never mind, go.
It's something I also realized a few years ago when I think I was transcribing something. I was having this problem with this, not with the singer. I had problems with singers at first because, like ballad playing, singers, not all singers, but a lot of singers start with ballads.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing for a beginner. It's like how we start. We were talking about jazz. The easier thing is the ballad when you're young, when you're beginner, and then once you learn changes and improvising at faster tempos, that becomes easier. And the ballad becomes hard because now you have space and not much movement chordally, harmonically. What you do with it now, But anyways, but then the tendency is to slow down. And I was analyzing. I think it was Adele, and it sounds like it's loose. It sounds like it's behind, but actually it's so on. It's so on to the click, and there's just these ways of, like, if there's a beat, it's on.
Yeah.
And then in between you can kind of mess around, and the way the pianist will also play will allow it to be more free, even though she's on, or vice versa. There has to be a consistent movement within the song, even when it's a ballad. And like, even then, a misconception of a ballad is that ballads have to be slow. Like, things don't have to be slow. I think something that hit me a little while ago was chord harmonic movement also determines the speed of a song. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite interesting. Like you say, groove from everyone is so important.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's little hiccups and screams and stuff, always in the pocket. It's added to the movement. Daniel asked me, my son, why does he do that? Because he's obsessed with Michael Jackson right now, like any good young colored boy. And I said, I couldn't. It was hard to explain groove to him, but it's just adding to the groove, I imagine, and him just being excited, I suppose, or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's that part that Michael's saying in time.
Yeah.
Bruno Mars sings Pocket. All these cats sing Pocket.
Yeah, and even actually, just quickly, in Ariana, one of Ariana's songs, is actually they have a harmonized, like a very 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 overly affected thing where she just she goes skr skr.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's quite fun. I'll show you the song. But just speaking of those ad libs, but those ad libs are important, man. Like they do actually add for it, because part of it is also, it's in the pocket. It's the singer getting excited. But when you, as a listener, if you aren't like a singer, I mean, you can go, so you get excited as well because you go, woo, and then you get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it adds. It's that excitement. I always remember, like, Marlon first, and now Kurt also does it on drums. Like, when he used to play and the groove starts happening, whatever the feel is, and he'd scream, and you're like, woo! Like,
Yeah.
And adds that excitement to the song, and if you're watching and you see him get that excited and scream, it really adds a flavor to the experience of the performance, And
Yeah, and also, like, it's like from a more marketing perspective, it adds like a more human element to you, because when you are a musician, you're showing. It's tricky. The same way I was talking about short form and long form content. Like, when you edit down what you're doing, or you're doing something that no one else can do, it sort of puts you above your audience. And it's a weird thing when you're sitting there. You admire it, but also you want to be let in. Like, for example, the same way if when I'm sitting with non-musician, I get a lot of questions in front of a show because they want to know. They really want to know. And then when your drummer goes woo and like gets really excited about what they're doing, not just sitting there like very serious, what happens is they're sitting there going, oh, they love it too. You know what I mean? They're excited about everything. We love what they're doing, and then they're getting drawn in.
You're right.
I think that's also why that's so great, because it's like, oh man, they're actually human. They're not just like the groove machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talking about humanizing, I think that's also the success and how many people are now been doing behind the scenes footage of their albums.
Yeah.
From big to small artists, it brings you in to see the human side of it. Because before like social media and stuff like that, you would have the odd you know, TV. Remember on TV they used to sometimes have these snippets of like behind the scenes of a movie, or you know, but it wasn't that common because there's only so many hours in a day, and there's only so many channels, and you know, each channel's got its own thing, and whatever it was, you know. And but now the access of YouTube and record labels and artists being able to provide, well, not just YouTube, you know, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, add insight to their lives, to the, besides, you know, the fake sort of like come to my house and see how rich I am, like the real, you know, even like Netflix now, you know, you're getting these documentaries, like Lady Gaga is working on that latest album, which she was quite nervous about changing her sound completely. She didn't know how the fans would take it, and just to get to see that humanness behind it is so inspiring, even to me as a musician. Because even me looks at these guys, not just even me, I guess I'm nobody, but even, like, you look at them and you go, wow. You know, you still idolize them, and that's kind of the point, because they are pushing at something, and they've been able to achieve something at such a high level, and such, like, you know, someone like Beyonce at like such a proficient level. It's amazing. And then to see the human side of them too gives you a bit of hope for yourself, and that's what's so cool about it. And that's kind of the success of Snarky Puppy, because they did it so well with their albums, putting the videos in the recordings, and then be able to see the interaction of the couple of the small audience there, and then them interacting and laughing with each other. One of their first albums, I don't know if they actually recorded the video to that, but you could even hear the excitement in the studio when they finished one of the songs. They went crazy, and like it's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's something that a local band, Nomadic Orchestra, does quite well as well. Like they have they're very funny. You know, and they'll talk to you and they'll interact with you. Like, they're not interested in being the high intellectual, artistic, beautiful musician. They want to make you they want to make you bouncy. That's their motto. You know, and you know, and they come out in that way, and it's really great.
Yeah, man. I think it's important now. Like, not to take yourself too seriously. You know. The world's a serious place anyways. We don't need more seriousness. Inappropriate. I mean, like, all the time. There's time for seriousness, obviously. And it's important for artists to deal with that, but then it doesn't have to be everything. Can be, I suppose, but I think it's nice to just have some life and just... Have you seen that guy? Was that pianist? He's signed to Quincy Jones Management. South American dude. Ridiculous. He did that Furley's in what's his name?
I don't know his name, but
I follow him on Instagram. I just saw a video of him now. Doesn't matter. Very cool, like Burning. But the amount of excitement that they have, like that trio that they have, and the amount of excitement that they bring, like, to their shows, both in live and then on Instagram and on, you know, the various different platforms. It changes that whole, like, he's kind of like changed. He's changed the jazz thing, because they're still a jazz trio, you know, but the excitement and the engagement and the silliness and the not need to take themselves too seriously affects the way it's received, and people can have fun with it. So they go, so he's gonna take a really serious song, he plays a ballad and it's beautiful. It's real, you know, jazz. He takes a heavy solo, it's cool. And then there's moments of fun, and the audience know that's gonna happen, and so they're gonna take in all of it, you know. And that's really cool.
Exactly. Like again, it's like looking at that Fleur-Elise thing. Like, if you see them like messing around, like they mess around and laugh a lot in that video. So like,
and they do a lot of those videos.
And I've seen quite a few of them. But like, so for a non-musician, they'll recognize the theme and they'll go, oh, they're busy messing around, having fun. But then, like, for us, we go, oh, like, they're being funny, but their playing is so serious,
and they're so good.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like that thing of knowing what needs to be serious in the moment and what needs to be fun. Like, I'm gonna take my playing very seriously, but I'm gonna have fun with it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
He doesn't sacrifice his technique or his musical integrity for being overly quirky. So it's like in comedy where you tell a good joke and you laugh about it instead of just like farting in between jokes and expecting people to laugh at that kind of thing. You still take the craft seriously, you know what I mean? And also the, like, comedies can be funny but also attack serious issues.
Yes, definitely.
You know what I mean? And a lot of comedians do that so well. And those are the greats, you know, those comedians that don't, like attack the audience as a means to make people laugh.
Yes,
You know, like those are. I mean, it can be funny, but I enjoy a comedian who doesn't have to turn to the audience in order to get laughs.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's good to interact, obviously, but I mean, there are guys that just start attacking and insulting because they're not that funny.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like there's too many of those guys. The good ones don't. They don't.
Mm.
That's not the. That's it's the small parts of the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, just a little thing.
I mean, you could take like what's it, Jimmy Carr.
Yeah.
People come there to heckle though, so it's a different thing.
Yeah.
You know, like,
but see, then again, he has like a heckle amnesty for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, but sometimes you open up the. Like, I remember one of those I was watching. He opened up the show, but the difference is that people heckle him,
Yeah.
and this is like one person who'll just talk to one guy, and it kind of just theme it, and you'll be able to bring jokes into him the whole time.
Yeah.
But it's not a big part. But the thing about him is that you heckle him, and you admire how sharp he is to respond. You know,
like where it takes him less than a millisecond to just shit on you back, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then that's not like, and then, but I must say, like Jimmy, in his older shows, he doesn't do it as much because he's more the panel guy now. Where he used to put so much effort into his shows, like he wrote a letter to Stephen Hawking. It was that was terrible. But like just, you know what I mean? Like, but he used to do that kind of stuff. Like he would write letters. He'd have graphics. He'd have stuff like and there'd be different things where he just sort of like. And then he'd be standing, maybe doing one-liners, and then he would sit down on the couch, and then he'd be more conversational. And like you can see the prop being related to what he was doing. Anyway, now we're just admiring Jimmy Carr right now, but like it just yeah. Anyway, the point is, know when to do what. Yeah. Oh yes, and sorry. Speaking of transcribing, that was the other point I had in my head about 20 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry guys. That's why I love Charlie Puth with the transcribing thing, because he has deceptively simple songs where you can hear all the elements, but the way they're layered is what makes them so difficult to recreate. So you can sit there and you can really listen, you can hear where this element is, where this element is, where this element is, and what's working. And it's really great to help you start thinking of ideas of how you can do things with something simple and really make simple elements sound great.
It's funny you say that. Like, I was transcribing this other song the other day. It's by a female vocalist, and so at the forefront it sounds like drums, bass, piano, and voice. That's all it sounds like, like nothing else. And as I started transcribing it and getting through it, I started realizing like, there's definitely more to this. And I realized there's a pad, like a really, really soft holding pad. So I added it in, and I said, like, there's still something missing. So I normally don't work with reverbs until mixing, but I just it was bothering me like what is going. So I checked out the reverbs, and I managed to like sort of recreate the piano reverb, which gave a lot of depth in it. And then I realized there's something more, and then the bass line is mostly just playing one note. And I figured out, and this is like that simple complexities things, where they put a tremolo on the bass, so the bass went doo, doo, in volume. So not just like, it's not going doo, it's going doo, not changing pitch, but like doo. I can't. Do you know the pitch isn't changing? It's just getting louder.
It's a bit like a side chain with that.
Yes, exactly. But like quite subtle.
Yeah.
And then that changed the whole thing completely. But it's so subtle. But all of a sudden, it sounds like there's movement in the thing, and the bass is really soft in the mix. As also, it's not even like a pumping song and then the drum kit. The minute you added like reverb on the snare and the certain like percussion, there's like a small amount of percussion on it. This depth starts changing, and this whole song starts sounding fat. And then there was an EP I noticed, like so soft. I mean, so soft. I put it in, and all of a sudden, okay, that's it. But it's still like super simple. So there's two pads, an EP, a piano, a bass, the tremolo, the drum groove, the voice, and at the end, at the second verse, they like add a sample of her, just like a sound that's just changing pitch of her voice, and then there's backing vocals in the choruses and her second thing. But it's so simple, but it's so fat, and still super catchy, And you're right, but it's like oftentimes what I've been noticing about anything that becomes synth is that patches sound synthesizers are built. So like they got this synth and then they double it with this synth and then they automate this synth to make it sound bigger towards the end. You know, like so there's like one chord progression, but like a lot of things combined to make that one sound like it's one instrument. There's a lot of different combinations of things with different small nuances. Maybe this one thing has a delay on it which creates some movement, and this thing has maybe a tremolo on it, and this thing is a side chain, but it's like one grouped into one little sound. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Like with Charlie Puth and Attention, he had a video of him busy, like he replayed in the bass line just for fun, and then they showed his DAW, and you see like there's only 2 tracks for the bass, but then you see like pad 1, and pad 1 has 5 doubles. Pad 2 has 6.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's like all you're hearing is like 3 elements, but you see the track is like
exactly.
like just that's why again that's the lesson you learn from guys like him.
Exactly, that's why it's so important to transcribe and just get into it and go, why is my track not sounding like that? Why have I not been able to make this same song? Obviously, I'm not a singer, so I always have to compensate for the voice. But the rest of it, why is it not sounding like that? And you start realizing you have to go a little bit deeper and you have to add something else. And that's always a tricky thing for me, is like trying to figure out that patch. It's a combination of so many things, and you have to decide what that is to you. But it's such a good experience, even if you don't get it 100% right, just the experience of building stuff and automating things and getting through it. In order to allow yourself to find that thing, and sometimes the beauty of it is that how simple it actually was, so that when you get something simple, you go, well, he did that, and you know for a fact that he did that because you were able to recreate it exactly the same with just this amount of elements. That helps you finish your process when you know that worked before, and it's also a successful song, a song that you love, and you know a couple other people like it, so that's enough for you, right? That's such a beautiful experience for me. With this transcribing, it gives me more confidence within my own creations. You know,
definitely. Yeah, I also love that thing, like exploring by yourself a bit, like with that 17-second track I sent you, I did that with the clap. I found that quite fun. Like I sat there, like basically I was sitting there trying to figure out what to do on 2 and 4, and while I was doing that, one of my doors was blown closed, and I went, and I was like, okay. So I found a sample of that and I added it to a clap.
Yeah, it sounded cool. I liked how you blended that.
Yeah, I mean, because again, you have, with that kind of stuff, you really have to EQ it properly and mix it correctly for it to work. But it's sort
that's
of like,
always for me. That's always like so when I'm creating, I'm trying to be quick because I have ideas flowing. And or I've been trying to like with my church thing. Like there was one time when I was sitting. And I'm listening to the song for probably about 30 minutes and I have nothing. But I know there's stuff missing. I'm sitting there going, this is not enough. And I'm listening to it, I'll take a break, make some coffee, come back. And then all of a sudden, a whole lot of ideas hit me. And I had to just get them out as quickly as possible. And it just wasn't working. So I'm like, oh man, I'm flipping. And I go, I have to... Thinking, now you decide, you realize, I know that I want maybe this sound in it, but I can't. I know that it's this sound, but it needs to be edited with like this kind of filter and this sort of verb maybe and whatever. But they have to decide, do I do it now or wait and do it in the mixing process, but just trust that that's going to sound right. Do you know what I mean? Like that debate of like when to do those nitty gritty things, you know, like EQing it right. And that depends. I mean, if you're feeling completely uninspired and you've just added one thing, by all means, let that be part of the next inspiration thing. Because maybe in processing that one sound, you find your next sound. You know.
So I find it. That's why I talk about the 2 hats. Because, for example, like in the composer mode, sometimes what I'll even do, I won't even have the computer. I'll have pen and paper, because I know that I won't get distracted by 15 different synths, and I just sit there and I make sure that I get all the melodies down. Because once again, I'm a top line guy. I hear melodies first. And with relative chords, but you know, so that's what I hear mostly. And when it comes to the producing hat thing, then I'm gonna sit there going, or maybe if I had a door to this clap, it'll sound a bit fatter. You know what I mean? Like things like that. But then again, that it doesn't always work that perfectly, and you really have to just adapt to what's going on in your head. Because our heads are always strange and wondrous. battlefields of bullshit, but like just
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no right or wrong. I mean, like I say, for me, production and composition kind of go hand in hand.
yeah,
And there's quite a lot of guys that do that. I think it also saves time and it saves inspiration
yeah,
for me. Like, I guess the more that you produce, the more you start hearing production elements.
yeah,
You know, so that's also an important factor of that. But that's the tough thing. I think, you know, I feel like this creation process, as tough as it is not as hard as the finishing the product.
yeah. No, that is true.
Like getting the product to this point of going, okay, I'm ready to upload this to, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
You know, if you're gonna upload it to like, you know, all the streaming platforms or create a C out of it and push it and actually think that, for me, getting to that point, like the closer and closer you get to knowing you're done, it gets harder and harder to make it done. You know, to finish it.
yeah,
Like I used to struggle with it. I still struggle with it a bit. And you know, that vulnerability. You're setting yourself up to be vulnerable. You're setting yourself up for judgment.
yeah.
That's what your brain tells you.
Yeah,
Oftentimes people don't judge.
yeah.
You know, oftentimes people don't. Even the musicians. Like I don't normally. And the difference is like that judgment thing is more of a taste, because music is subjective. I still believe that, and there are just albums that I don't like and there are albums that I do like. Irrelevant of the playing or the ability of the musician or the whatever. It's just it's not my sound, or I'm not ready for it. Like, you know, I'm not in the right space right now to receive this. Maybe this is a darker album and I'm looking for something happy right now, so it just doesn't float my boat. A year later I listen to it again and it's just beautiful. This happened to me countless times, you know. So I think getting over that fear of vulnerability, that fear of judgment, is such an important part of finishing and releasing, and not caring. You know, that it just needs to be out there. Someone will benefit. If one person loves that album, I think that's enough.
Yeah, that's kind of, you have to. Yeah, because it's a matter of, you can't be creative without taking risks, and you realistically you have to do that. So
Yeah.
Releasing anything is a risk, and you have to accept that that's true, no matter how happy you're with it or not.
Yeah.
So even if you feel like, even if your insecurity has decided that this is all terrible now, but you know that it's ready, you still have to be okay with yourself to just press release.
I don't know about. I know that feeling. You always question yourself.
Yeah. It's horrific. It's brutal, but it's necessary.
It is. It's so important to get these things done, man. Like I say, finish your damn album. Just do it. We'll start it, and then just release it, and don't care what people think, and don't care what you think. I mean, care up until the rehearsal process and stuff, and then just tell everyone if they don't like it that they're wrong.
Yeah. It's more a matter of like, know who's talking. Is it the panic monster, or is it the actual person who understands the technique and musical ability of what you're trying to do? You know, okay, musical ability is a terrible way to explain it, but you know, like who is it, the musician, or is it someone who's just panicking, not thinking straight? And you have to try and understand that.
Yeah, I don't have the answers to this thing yet.
Yeah, many people don't. I mean, I think it's something. Yeah, it's something you can't just get rid of.
I think it's good though. I think it's good to have a bit of that fear. I think it'll make your process better.
Yeah, I know, I agree.
But it'll, like, you know, but you have to just let it go eventually.
Yeah, like it's a. But you see, the thing with that kind of thing, it's a dam on top of a mountain. If you open, you need to open a floodgate in order to get something out of the dam. But if you open a floodgate, there's always a risk that all the floodgates will open. Yeah. And that's why this conversation is so difficult to have with yourself.
You know what? The other thing is, I mean, I like fear of success.
Yes.
Is as hard as fear of failure.
Yep.
That's a rough one. Like, I mean, sounds like the stupidest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I'm scared of being successful, but I promise you that's a real thing, man. Like,
yeah, I know.
Like
when I released the first podcast, I got like 200 views,
Were you panicking?
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like, oh my god, I'm famous.
Yeah. It's like, oh no,
Damn it,
man,
Bill
no.
Gates is gonna phone me tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I've got to get my production level to the highest quality.
Damn it.
Thanks to our 15 subscribers.
Woo! Yeah, we are
Clout
famous.
gang.
I'm scared. I don't know. I don't think I
Yeah.
should release this one. I'm nervous. This is the one that's gonna break it. This is the one that's gonna make us, bro.
Yeah, man.
Celine Dion's gonna ask us to produce for her.
Yeah.
I heard a new song of hers.
What
She's
is
got
it?
a new song
Yeah,
out.
that was our way of saying like and subscribe, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. One day I'll like and subscribe.
And keep it playing while you
Actually, I like.
You all have uncapped internet. It's fine. Okay, just.
I like, but I don't subscribe.
Yeah.
You haven't won me yet, Dan.
But I
haven't
have
won-
you. You're
you
your
know-
favorite person. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, do you know what irritates about me is how much my eyes move. Oh my god. Whenever I watch these things. I always at least watch like 10 minutes of them and I'm like, can't my eyes stand flipping still? God, I'm like looking over like all of like I'm shifty. Like I'm like this dodgy person that like, oh my word, I can't believe it. Oh, I irritate myself so much. I used to love myself so much. Like if you ask anyone, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I was my biggest fan of myself. And like, but after watching these videos, not anymore. I'm just like, what an idiot. Can't sit still. I'm so aware of that nowadays. God.
I'm sorry, man.
Sitting still. Ah! And then my eyes. It's like I'm a dodgy drug dealer. Like, you know, like.
For me, like. Yeah, I know.
You know, looking around all the time for like a cop. Flip.
So your eyes move too much, and my eyes disappear every time I get vaguely happy. Like just they're just gone. They're gone. I'm red. Like just.
What were we saying? Finishing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's rough.
Yeah.
But I think we just need to do it.
Exactly.
I'll let you know what happens with my church stuff.
Yeah.
That's the first deadline.
Looking forward to that, man.
I'm quite excited because I ended up changing a couple of things for the latest one,
Mm-hmm.
but it means more work for me. That's what I did to myself. Always, and now we have to re-record drums on 3 tracks and come and call in I'm gonna call Sean
Yeah.
just because he's here and he's bored.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get him to record some bass.
Nice.
Slap out of bass.
Nice. Well, look. Speaking of finishing, I think we've had a good chat.
Yeah, because your storage is almost full.
I don't know, but that's just because I have all 3 seasons of Rick and Morty on, and I still have the old podcast in my library.
Yeah, exactly. Full. Manage your storage better while we're recording.
I'm trying.
Anyway, so that's the only reason we're done.
Yeah.
Because Daniel
And also, this has been good.
is a Thunderbolt.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm gonna go in the gym now.
Awesome. Thanks
These
so
are
much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
And
Finish your projects.
yes, finish your projects and have a good week.